This video was created to find you in the exact moment when your soul is asking for change. And it doesn't matter where you are right now, whether you're on the couch, in a dark room, lying down, staring at the ceiling, wandering through your house without direction, sitting at work, pretending to concentrate, gazing out the window of a bus, thinking about everything and nothing at the same time, standing under the shower, letting the water fall while your mind drifts, awake at 3 in the morning scrolling your phone without purpose, or walking down the street with headphones trying to drown out your own thoughts. Somehow, you ended up here because a part of you was calling for this. Maybe you haven't said it out loud. Maybe you're trying to ignore it yourself. Maybe you've been postponing this inner conversation for weeks, months, even years. But there comes a moment when the soul can no longer pretend everything is stable. And it's exactly in that moment that certain messages appear. Sometimes, life finds unusual ways to deliver precisely what you need, even when you don't know how to express what you're feeling. And it's not a coincidence. You might try to rationalize it. You might say, the algorithm showed me this randomly, but a part of you, the part that truly matters, knows it wasn't random. You were searching for something without knowing what. You were waiting for a sign without admitting you needed one. You were silently asking for help. In that discreet way, the soul asks when we don't have the courage to say things out loud. And if you're hearing this now, it's because a change is trying to be born within you. Even if you're still trying to convince yourself that everything is fine the way it is. Even if you keep saying, I'll think about it later. This isn't the right moment. I'm not ready to change yet. Change doesn't wait for you to be ready. It appears when it has to, and it usually shows up exactly when you fear it the most. It's strange how transformation begins. Not with explosions, not with dramatic choices, not with big breakthroughs. It begins quietly. It starts with the soft discomfort you try to overlook, with that sense of misalignment when something that once made sense suddenly feels empty. It starts with impatience, with the urge to disappear for a while, with the heaviness you feel in your body without explanation, with that tiredness that doesn't go away even after sleeping, with the sudden impulse to reorganize your entire life, from the drawer in the living room to the people you allow to stay beside you. It begins when you stare at your reflection and feel disconnected, as if you were looking at someone familiar but no longer recognizable. It begins when places that once comforted you now make you uneasy, when songs that once energized you now sadden you, when you begin avoiding people without knowing why, when you feel like wiping everything clean and starting over, even though you have no idea where to begin. Change begins before the actual change. It begins with the soul asking for space, for air, for honesty. And even if you try to keep your routine intact, even if you continue doing the same things, even if you keep repeating the same steps, there comes a point where you simply can't hide anymore. The soul tightens, and when it tightens, the world begins to shrink. The walls of your life seem to close in. The ceiling feels lower. The air feels thinner. You feel the urge to leave, but you don't know where to go. Have you noticed how, in these past days, you've felt different, as if something is shifting inside you, even if you can't name it? Maybe it's happening slowly, almost invisibly. Some things lost their shine. Some people lost their meaning. Some paths feel worn out, like you've been walking in circles. And the worst part is that you begin to realize you've been living on autopilot. Wake up, coffee, work, lunch, work, dinner, a show, sleep, repeat. Like a machine following protocol. Like life has turned into a sequence of duties you perform without questioning. Like you've forgotten what it feels like to truly live. And now you're only surviving, pushing through the days however you can, waiting for the weekend that arrives and still brings no relief. And even though nothing serious has happened, you feel something has shifted. It's as if life is calling you to a new chapter, but you're still stuck in the final paragraphs of the previous one, rereading a story that has nothing left to offer. You're reading the same lines, hoping they say something different, but they keep repeating the same message. And deep down, you know you need to turn the page. But turning the page means facing the unknown. And the unknown is always more frightening than the familiar prison. You try to rationalize it. You tell yourself it's just a phase. You try to distract yourself. You try convincing yourself it's just exhaustion, just stress, just a rough week. Next week will be better, you say. Next month, things will calm down, you insist. But the weeks go by, the months go by, and nothing truly improves. Because the problem isn't outside. It's not your job, not traffic, not your bank account, not your schedule. The problem is internal. It's your soul saying you're in the wrong place, doing the wrong things, being someone you no longer are. There comes a moment when your body starts expressing what you try to hide. You lose your appetite, or you eat too much. You get irritated over small things. You cry without knowing why. You grow restless. You replay old conversations in your mind. You think too much. You stay silent too long. You feel nostalgic for something you can't identify. You wake up in the middle of the night with your heart racing. You feel a tightness in your chest out of nowhere. Your mind starts creating catastrophic scenarios. You begin questioning everything. Your decisions, your relationships, your work, your purpose, your entire existence. This is how the soul asks for change. Everything that isn't truth starts to feel heavy. Everything that isn't yours starts to hurt. Every lie you've been telling yourself begins to crack. Every mask you've been wearing begins to suffocate. Every role you've been playing begins to exhaust you. You can't fake it anymore. You can't keep smiling when you're not okay. You can't keep saying, "I'm fine," when nothing is fine. You can't keep being strong all the time. You can't keep carrying the weight alone. Right now, in this exact moment, you're not listening to this video for entertainment. You're listening because something within you is asking for help. Not help from someone specific. Not dramatic help. Not desperate help. But help in the form of clarity, direction, confirmation. As if you needed a small light saying, yes, you feel this for a reason. Yes, something is changing inside you. Yes, it's real. Because the worst part isn't what you're feeling. The worst part is believing you're exaggerating, or losing control, or that you don't have a reason to feel this way. It's looking at your own life and thinking, I should be grateful. I have so many things. Yet still feeling a huge emptiness. It's having achievements, but not feeling joy. It's being surrounded by people, yet feeling alone. It's having a stable routine, but feeling lost. Deep down, you already know. You've always known. Change doesn't appear out of nowhere. It builds slowly through silences, feelings, perceptions. And one day, you look at all of it and realize you can't continue being who you were. You can't pretend that version of you still works. You can't force connection where none exists. You can't keep pushing everything down. The moment arrives when you stop, look within, and admit, I need to change. Maybe you've been holding things together for too long, trying to hold on to people, routines, old emotions. Maybe you've held on to situations that were falling apart because you were terrified of what would happen if you let go. Maybe you got so used to the pain that it became part of your identity. That's just who I am, you say. I've always been anxious, you justify. My whole family is like this, you explain, as if pain were hereditary, as if suffering were fate, as if you had no choice. Maybe you've normalized chaos, exhaustion, overload, loneliness. Maybe you've learned to live with crumbs of affection, scraps of attention, leftovers of love. Maybe you've convinced yourself this is all you deserve, that this is the best life can offer you. But the soul has a limit, and when that limit arrives, life begins to tighten around you, not to punish you, but to free you, to push you out of the comfort zone that quietly turned into a disguised discomfort zone. This video found you because, in some way, you've been losing yourself. And when that happens, life always finds unusual ways to pull you back. Sometimes through a conversation, sometimes through a dream, sometimes through an intuition, and sometimes through a random video that appears right when you needed it the most, because something within you is being reborn. Something is asking for space to breathe. Something is asking for courage to appear. A part of you that stayed buried for years is beginning to awaken, like a seed that finally decides to sprout after an endlessly long winter. You feel it as restlessness, as an urge for change you can't explain, as an urgency to do something different before it's too late. And I know you feel it. You feel it in your skin, in your soul, in your body. You feel it when you wake up and when you try to sleep. You feel it while doing ordinary things, washing dishes, making your bed, answering automatic messages. You feel it while laughing at things that aren't that funny. You feel it while trying to be strong for everyone else. You feel it while pretending to be stable. You feel it when you're alone in the car, when the music stops and you're left there with nothing but your own thoughts. You feel it in the elevator, staring at the floor, avoiding eye contact like it's some kind of shield. You feel it in a meeting when your mind drifts miles away, thinking about anything except what people are saying. You feel it at a party, surrounded by noise and movement, yet sensing as if you're watching everything from the outside, like you don't belong to that place, that energy, that frequency. Change has been calling you, and you've been trying to hold the edges of your life together so nothing falls apart. But sometimes, things need to fall apart. Sometimes, they need to break so they can be rebuilt in a stronger, more honest way. Sometimes, old structures have to collapse so there's room for what truly matters. You're afraid of chaos, but you don't realize you've already been living in a silent version of it. Chaos disguised as control. You think you're holding everything together, but really, you're only delaying the inevitable. And while all of this is happening, there is a symbol that tends to appear whenever a deep transition is about to unfold. the spiritual cat. It shows up in dreams, in random thoughts, in images, in sudden sensations. Maybe you've seen a cat crossing your path lately. Maybe you dreamed of one. Maybe an image caught your attention for no apparent reason. Maybe you simply felt a presence, an energy, an intuition. It represents the part of you that watches everything from a distance. With instinct, maturity, and quiet perception, the cat never rushes into a situation. It doesn't panic. It doesn't get confused. It observes. It analyzes. It waits. It knows exactly when to move forward and when to retreat. It trusts its own intuition. It doesn't need to explain itself. It simply exists. And when it appears, it's because you're stepping through an internal portal. A passage that separates who you were from who you're becoming. It walks beside you in silence, with those eyes that seem to understand more than they should. It represents your elevated awareness, your inner voice, your destiny, quietly speaking your name. It is the guardian of your transformation, the silent witness of your evolution, the guide who doesn't have to speak in order to be heard. And it's incredible how, in the middle of emotional disorder, small clues start appearing. You start noticing that certain conversations drain you more than before, that some relationships you keep only out of habit, not affection, that some paths have been walked so many times they have nothing new to offer you, that some emotions no longer belong to the version of yourself you're trying to grow into. You begin to sense that what once distracted you now exhausts you. What once satisfied you now makes you restless. What once held you back now makes you want to run. That friendship you've maintained for years, even though it no longer nourishes you. That job that pays the bills but slowly eats at your spirit. That relationship that became routine, then duty, then burden. That self-sabotaging habit you swear you'll quit, but always return to. That guilt you carry, as if it were your obligation to suffer. And then you start thinking you're becoming strange, unstable, hard to deal with. People start saying, "You've changed," and you're not sure whether it's an insult or a compliment. You feel misunderstood, like no one can grasp what you're going through, because you can barely put it into words yourself. But the truth is much simpler. You're changing, and change always brings chaos. It always brings confusion. It always brings moments where you don't know who you are, what you want, or where you're going. Changing means disorganizing everything so you can reorganize better. It means touching old wounds. It means questioning beliefs you carried your entire life. It means unlearning. It means evolving. And evolution is exhausting. It demands courage. It requires letting go of older versions of yourself that you once believed you needed to survive. Growing means disappointing people who liked the older version of you. It means creating boundaries in places where you used to accept everything. It means saying no when you used to say yes. It means choosing yourself when you always put others first. It means prioritizing your peace when you used to protect everyone else's. It means being labeled selfish when, in reality, you're finally being fair to your own soul. And as this transition unfolds, you start noticing that the things that once held you together now feel too small. Other people's opinions lose their power. The fear of judgment fades. The need to please dissolves. The urgency to prove something disappears. It feels as if a part of you is slowly turning off everything that isn't essential. so your soul can finally breathe freely again. You stop caring so much about what people might think. You stop trying to control stories that don't belong to you. You stop explaining your choices to those who never asked. You stop defending yourself. You stop asking for permission. You stop waiting for external validation. You start trusting yourself more than the voices around you. And that's terrifying, because you were trained your whole life to seek approval, and now you're learning to approve of yourself. And the truth is that even with all this internal confusion, there is a quiet calm hidden beneath everything, a stillness you may not feel yet, but it's already there. It's the calm of someone beginning to find themselves, the calm of someone standing at the threshold of a new chapter, the calm of someone who knows that no matter how much it hurts, this change is necessary. The calm that comes when you finally understand that life never takes something away without returning something greater in its place. It's the calm that comes right before the storm breaks. You're standing in the center of the hurricane, so you can't see clearly yet. But on the other side, there is clarity. On the other side, there is peace. On the other side, there is a version of you who breathes more freely, who smiles more sincerely, who moves through life more lightly. A version of you who looks back someday and feels grateful for having had the courage to change at a time when changing felt impossible. And no matter how much you try to resist, something is pushing you forward. You can feel it unmistakably. You can't keep being the same person anymore. You can't stay inside the same cycles. You can't keep repeating patterns that hurt you. You can't keep ignoring your intuition. You can't keep shrinking yourself just to fit into places that were never meant for you. You're being pulled toward a truer version of yourself, a more conscious version, a lighter version, a more honest one, a stronger one, a version you may not even fully understand yet, but one that is already asking for space to exist, a version that refuses anything less than what it deserves, a version that won't settle for crumbs anymore, a version that isn't afraid to be alone if that's what it takes to be at peace, a version that chooses truth over comfort, growth over stagnation, living over merely surviving. And slowly, the change stops being terrifying and starts becoming inevitable. You begin feeling the urge to reorganize your life, to clean your space, to release old ties, to create room. You feel the urge to step away from the noise, to quiet your mind, to spend more time with yourself. You feel the urge to finally do the things you've been postponing for years. You feel the urge to truly prioritize yourself, not just as an idea, but as a practice. You start tidying the house and realize you're actually tidying your life. You start throwing things away and realize you're discarding the past. You start clearing spaces and realize you're cleansing your soul. Every drawer you organize is an emotion being processed. Every item you donate is a weight being released. Every clean corner is a thought becoming clearer. And when these urges show up, they never come alone. They arrive with a calling to be reborn, a calling to rediscover yourself, a calling to experience a version of life you haven't met yet, but know you deserve, a calling to be brave, to be authentic, to be honest with yourself, a calling to stop living the life others expect from you and start living the life your soul has been asking for. This video found you in the exact moment your soul asked for change. because you're walking through a portal, not a literal one, not an exaggerated mystical doorway, but an inner portal, the kind that only appears when you're ready to leave who you used to be behind. The portal that separates the past from the future. The portal that transforms the person you pretended to be into the person you truly are. And this portal is invisible, but you can feel yourself crossing it. You feel it in the subtle changes. You feel it in the different decisions you're making. You feel it in the conversations you avoid. You feel it in the places you no longer want to go. You feel it in the people you're slowly releasing. You feel it in the solitude that once scared you and now comforts you. You feel it in your own company that you once escaped and now seek out. And when you walk through that portal, the old you doesn't die. It simply loses its influence. Little by little, it stops controlling your thoughts. It stops convincing you to accept less. It stops sabotaging you. It stops restricting you. You don't kill your old self. You simply outgrow it so much that it can't follow you anymore. It stays behind, watching you walk away, shouting for you to come back. But you've already gone too far to hear its voice. And now, as you listen to this, a new version of you is being shaped. A version with more clarity. A version with more maturity. A version with more courage. A version with more self-respect. A version that knows what it deserves. A version that refuses the repetition of old wounds. A version that is ready to start again. A version that isn't afraid to disappoint others in order to honor itself. A version that isn't afraid to lose so it can later gain something better. A version that isn't afraid to be alone if that's what it takes to attract the right people. A version that isn't afraid of judgment because it knows it's on the right path. A version that isn't afraid of the future because it trusts the process. This video isn't asking you to change today. It isn't telling you to make impulsive decisions. It isn't telling you to drop everything at once. None of that. The change your soul is asking for doesn't begin on the outside. It begins within. It begins at this exact moment when you finally admitted to yourself that something feels different. It begins in this silence. It begins in this recognition. It begins in this awakening. It begins when you stop running and start facing. It begins when you stop denying and start accepting. It begins when you stop resisting and start flowing. It begins when you stop living in fear and start choosing faith. Faith in yourself. Faith in the process. Faith in life. Faith that, on the other side of this transformation, there is a version of you worth every tear, every sleepless night, every lonely moment, every difficult decision. And the spiritual cat is here with you now, watching you with that quiet wisdom, with that infinite patience. It knows you'll make it. It knows you're stronger than you realize. It knows that this change, as frightening as it seems, is exactly what you need to become, who you were always meant to be. And if all of this made sense to you, if you felt something move inside your chest, if you recognized your own story in these words, if you felt like this video was meant for you, then write in the comments, "I am ready to change," and let the universe witness that you heard the calling. Mark the moment you decided to stop resisting and start evolving. Mark the day your soul spoke louder than your fear. Mark the instant you finally chose yourself. Because that sentence is not just a sentence. It's a commitment. It's a declaration. It's a pact you make with yourself. It's your way of telling the universe, your soul, and the spiritual cat walking beside you, I heard you, I understand, I accept, I am ready. And once you're truly ready, life will begin to align around you. Doors will open, paths will unfold, the right people will show up, opportunities will appear, and you'll look back and realize that everything, absolutely everything, was preparing you for this moment. The moment you finally had the courage to transform.